Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Authors Corner podcast, where we are equipping, inspiring, and publish authors with knowledge, tools, and confidence to write, publish, and market books that make an impact. I'm Tiffany Dillard, the founder and CEO of New Voice Books, and today we're talking about something that many authors avoid because it seems confusing: the business side of publishing. We want to do the author side, but we don't want to work on the business side, and that's very important. Writing the book is only part of becoming an author. Once your manuscript is complete, you're also becoming a publisher, a business owner, the owner of intellectual property. Today, we're going to talk about three major topics. We're going to talk about ISBNs, we're going to talk about copyright, and we're going to talk about the business essentials every author needs to know before they start publishing. Okay, so we're going to dive in. So go ahead and get you some a notebook and a pen so you can take notes, because this information is very, very important, and I'm going to break it down. So I want you to understand what's what out of these 3 points. So we're going to go into it a little bit deeper. All right. So go get what you need and come back and join me for an amazing conversation.
From broken pages to destiny's plan, God put vision inside this pen. We don't write for fame or applause. We write to awaken hearts to the cross. Every chapter carries light. Every word we writing.
All right. You back? You got everything you needed? Okay. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the first point we're going to talk about is your book is more than a book. It's intellectual property. Okay. So many authors think I just want to write. I just want to write a book. I just want to put it out there. I just want to, let people know that I'm an author. That's all I'm wanting to do. But publishing means you're creating an asset. You are leaving a legacy. You are passing down something that the next generation can inherit. So your book is an intellectual property, a product, a brand builder, a ministry, a teaching tool, and an income producing asset. That means you have to protect it. You can't just put your book out here and just say, well, I have the copyright notice in my book, so that should be okay, right? No, you got to go a little bit deeper. So change your mind from I wrote a book to I own valuable intellectual property. So we're going to do a mindset shift. You're going to go from saying, I just wrote a book. Even change your mindset was, I just wrote a little book. No. You own intellectual property. You own intellectual property. And that changes everything, okay? So let's go to the kingdom perspective of it, all right? God trusted you with the message. And yeah, you may say, well, it's my story. But he still trusted you with the message, because everybody didn't experience what you experienced in your life. Everybody's not able to tell the story that you're able to tell. Some things may be similar, but it's not exact, because your situation, what happened in your life, your story is unique to you. It's your testimony. So just as you protect your homes, your businesses, and finances, we should also protect what God has entrusted to us. You should protect that story. So I'm going to give you a scripture, because we do God over here. Proverbs 27:23 says, be diligent to know the state of your flocks. Stewardship includes protecting your creative work. So you're not just out here just allowing anybody to just have access to your work. No, you worked hard on that. Do you know how long you fought your God on doing what you were supposed to do? Then when you gave him a yes, you had to probably give him 10 more yeses and a couple of surrenders to actually do what you were supposed to do the research, to connect to the person that you needed to connect to kind of help you and guide you, to get the tools and resources that you need. Like, it was a fight. and you're not going to protect it. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. So let's talk about what an ISBN number is, okay? And many authors, for the first time, they ask, what exactly is a ISBN number? Like, what is it? Why do I need it? So ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number. This is like your book's fingerprint. Okay. So it's just like how you go to the store and you have a barcode and a number under that barcode on all products. And when it's at the store, they call it like a SKU. Well, the ISBN number on your book is like the SKU. So like when you get ready to sell your book online, like Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, things like that, you're going to have that barcode. That's, like I said, your book's fingerprint. So every published book sold through retailers needs an ISBN number. It has to have it. You cannot publish your book on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or any of those global online bookstores without an ISBN number. And if somebody tells you that you can move forward with the process without that, they're lying to you, because that's incorrect. And then you're going to find out in the long run that it's wrong, because Amazon is going to tell you real quick, where's your ISBN number? And that ISBN number not only needs to be on the back of your book and your barcode, it needs to also be in your book on your copyright notice page. So what does an ISBN, what does it do? What does it identify? So it identifies your specific book, the edition, the format, and your publisher. And then retailers use your ISBN numbers to order books, track inventory, process sales, and list your book online. Without one, bookstores cannot properly identify your title. So I may have somebody that say, well, Tiffany, it's not really saying, that I really need it. Well, it did, because I said every published book sold through retailers needs an ISBN number. So if you don't have an ISBN number, then your book is not being identified in their system. Therefore, it's not being pushed forth or marketed in their system so that people can know that you have a book out. Nobody knows where your book is supposed to go. Because as I said, your ISBN number identifies your specific book, your genre. If you don't have an ISBN number with that information attached, they're not going to know. You can say, well, I put it in there, but it's still not going to, because you can put it in there on one site, but it's still not going to attach for every site. So if you upload that information and connect it with your ISBN number, that's going to go everywhere. And you're not going to have to manually do it. And then who's to say that those platforms give you the option to manually do it? So you need the ISBN number, okay? So different formats need different ISBN numbers. So many authors don't realize this. Each version requires an ISBN number. So example, a paperback, a hardback, an audiobook, a large print, each receives its own ISBN number. So if you print your book in paperback and then you turn around and say, well, I want to, change the cover type and I want to do hardback, that's a whole nother ISBN number that you're going to need. You can't use the same ISBN number for the paperback for the hardback. You can't do that. It's two different formats. They are one in its own. They're not together. If you do an ebook, that ebook has to have its own ISBN number. You cannot use the same ebook as the physical book. You cannot use the same ISBN number for your ebook as you do the paperback or hardback. You're going to have to use a different one. Okay? So let's talk about who owns the ISBN number, because that's important. So if somebody else buys the ISBN number, they are listed as the publisher. So if you work with New Voice Books, the ISBN number is included in your package. But the publisher's name is going to be me. It's going to be New Voice Books, because New Voice Books owns the ISBN number. Now, if you purchase your ISBN number for yourself, then of course your information will be there as the publisher of your book. So whenever possible, you can purchase your own ISBN number if you don't want full publishing, if you want full publishing ownership. So that means that you don't want anybody's name to be shown as the publisher. You go ahead and purchase the ISBN number yourself, and then the imprint that shows up when it comes to the publisher, it'll show forth your name. So if you're working with when you're working with a publishing company, so these are the questions that you want to ask about the ISBN number. So who owns the ISBN number? Who is listed as the publisher? Can ownership transfer later? And then, always make sure you ask these questions. Now, I want to say this. Just because your publisher owns your ISBN number, that does not affect your royalties. So again, if you were working with a publishing company like New Voice Books, even though we own the ISBN number, I'm not collecting any royalties off your book. I'm just listed, New Voice Books is just listed there as your publisher. That's it. That's all. So if somebody's telling you, well, I own the ISBN number, so I have, rights to your royalties, that is not true. It's not true at all. So I want to kind of kill some common myths when it comes to the ISBN number, okay? So myth number 1, I only need one forever. Truth. Every edition requires its own ISBN number. So if you have a second edition, a third edition, a fourth edition, a fifth edition, it needs a new ISBN number. That's considered like a new book. Because you're creating all of these additional editions, you're adding new content to that book. It's not the same book as when you published it for the first time. So you need another ISBN number. Myth number 2, I don't need one. Truth is, if you're selling professionally through retailers, you generally need one. It is required. They will kick your book out if you don't have an ISBN number. And when I say ISBN number, you need it in the inside of your book on the copyright notice page, and you need it on your barcode. So you got to have it in 2 places. If you don't, you can't sell on their platforms. Myth number 3, it protects my book. No. ISBN numbers only identify your book. They do not protect copyrights. So nothing is protected on your ISBN number. It is the identification code that is used to place your book where it needs to be placed so that it can be identified on whatever platforms that it's on. Okay? So we're going to go into the next topic. It's talking about understanding copyright. And please write these notes out, because a lot of people have this thought in their mind that, well, maybe I don't need the copyright page. Well, my name's on the book, so it's protected. No, it's not. People can change that cover, take all your stuff off, and sell your book as if they wrote it. So we're going to talk about the copyright. So this is where many authors become confused. Very confused, okay? But I want to kind of simplify this as best as I can so that way you'll understand it. But again, take notes. If you need to, come back and watch the replay of this episode, because this is very, very important. Do not skip these steps, okay? Do not overlook this information as if it's just, it's optional. It's not. So copyright protects your original work. So this includes your words, chapters, original illustration, poetry, devotionals, children's books, study guides. The moment you create original work and place it into a fixed form, such as writing it down, you generally own the copyright. So the copyright protects your original work. That's what it protects. So some people may say, well, why do I have to register it with the Library of Congress? I have the answer for that. Although copyright exists automatically in many jurisdictions once an original work is fixed in a tangible form, formal registration can provide important legal benefits if someone infringes on your work. And actually, the Supreme Court had changed that law and put it into law to where now if you try to sue someone, so say if somebody took the Reflection of Me, my first book, and they're out here selling it and marketing it as if they wrote that book. And I know that that's my book. They just changed the cover. When I take them to court, I have to take them to court with my copyright certificate from the Library of Congress, because now the law is that without that, that's not your book having the copyright notice is not just the proof that of ownership. You need now to have that certificate from the Library of Congress to show that your original work has been registered. So then now you're covered, and whoever is infringing on your work has to pay like they weigh. So registration creates public record, stronger legal protection, easier enforcement, additional remedies that may be available under the law depending on jurisdiction and timing of registration. So look up what it is in your state. Ask the questions when it comes to a publisher to make sure that they are aware of what's changing when it comes to copywriting. So that way that your book is not protected. Make sure that it's protected, because it's important to be protected. You worked hard on this. Make sure that you're protecting it. So let me tell you what copyright does not protect. Copyright does not protect ideas, titles, book names, general concepts, facts. You can't copyright 30-day prayer journal, but you can copyright the actual content you wrote. Now, the titles and things like that goes more into like trademarking. But with the copyright, that's not, because anybody could use the same title as you. It's the content, the interior content that the copyright is protecting. Because when you go on Amazon, you can look up a whole lot of books called The Reflection of Me. But they can't take my book and use my book in my content. That's a problem. And that's when we go to court. So here are some common copyright mistakes. Posting entire manuscripts online before publication. Why in the world would you ever do that? How are you going to sell this book after it's done if you put the whole manuscript on there? And you may say, well, I changed some stuff. It don't matter. They still have the manuscript. And some people will settle for what you put online. So they're like, oh, I don't need to change this. I'm good. The book was good as it was. So I'm straight. Then you're wondering why your sales are down, because you did not allow yourself to get completed before you put your book online. You just put your stuff out there. Using Google Images without permission. You got to get permission. You got to make sure you have permission, okay? Copywriting devotionals from other authors. Or, I'm sorry, I'm all on this copyright. I'm sorry, copying devotionals from other authors. You cannot put other people's work in your book without notating it. You can't put that stuff in your book and then flow with it in your chapter and not acknowledge the person where it came from, because that would be plagiarism. So you can't do that. That's not your words. You have to get credit where credit is due. Add that footnote. Using song lyrics. You got to give credit. You cannot just put that in your manuscript. You have to tell what the title is and who the songwriter is for that song. The singer and songwriter. You can't just just put anything in your book and just say, oh, I'm accounting as mine. No, you cannot do that. Using poems without permission. You have to ask for this stuff. You have to give credit where credit is due. Using copyrighted photos. Always obtain permission when needed. And when in doubt, Google and make sure that you are allowed to use whatever you're trying to use for your book. And if it's another author, reach out to them. But even if you reach out to them and you get permission, still add the notation in your book. Don't just put it in there as if that's your words, because if you don't acknowledge where those words came from, then your reader is going to assume that they came from you, and that's not true. So let's be honest and operate with integrity when it comes to utilizing other people's, content and products. Because if it was us, we would want somebody to do the same and consider us. All right. So here's some business essentials that every author should know. Okay. So we're going to move beyond writing. Publishing is a business. I'm going to say that one more time. Publishing is a business. That means there are responsibilities. You're not just an author. You're not just a writer. You're not just a creative. You're not just a person who puts together devotionals and journals. No, you are operating and functioning in a business. So you need to keep good records. You need to track your sales. You need to track your inventory. You need to be knowledgeable and write down and keep track of your publishing expenses. Expenses for editing, expenses for cover design, your expenses for marketing, your expenses for printing, your expenses for travel and software, your expenses for business mileage. You need these records for taxes and for financial planning. So you need to keep track of all of that. This is a business. Remember, this is not just, oh, I'm just writing a book. No, your book is a business. And if you have been joining in and tuning in to the Author's Corner podcast, as long as we've been on YouTube, I've always said that your book is a business. Now, I've said that it'll help you to open doors and a business card to help open doors, but your book is a business. So you want to start separating your business finances. So don't let all that, the business your book finances to go into your personal account. No, you need to separate that. So if you're serious about publishing, you need to open up a business account. You need to keep book income separate. You need to track your royalties, and you need to know your profits. So that means that you need to have systems in place. Systems. So that means that you may need a website so that you can track that information as people are coming on your site purchasing your book. So I want you to also understand your royalties. Many authors only focus on selling books, but they don't think about their royalties. So you have to understand about your royalties. You got to understand the wholesale pricing, the retail pricing, your print costs, your distribution fees, your royalties, your profit margins. So if a book doesn't mean you earn $20, you need to know your numbers. Especially if you're going on to these platforms like Amazon and Barnes and Nobles, they're going to charge you to be on their platform. And they're also going to charge you a distribution fee for your book to be on their platform. So you got to weigh those things out. Because I know it looks real cute and nice for your book to be on Amazon, but you really need to count the cost before doing that. Now, if you want to put your book on Amazon, put it on there as a second option. But you should have a landing page or a website for somebody to purchase your book directly from you. Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and all of them should not be the only place. It should not. Because you're not going to really make a profit off your book if you keep it, if it's all in all on those platforms. Let me say it like that. You're not going to make the money because they're going to take majority of your money. So I want you to understand that contracts matter. Never sign a publishing agreement without reading it. So you need to know who owns the files, who owns the copyright, who controls pricing, who controls distribution. Can you leave the agreement? Can you republish later? You want to read every contract carefully. And if you connect with the publisher and they don't have a contract for you to sign, do not publish your book with that publisher. Because there's too many holes. There's too much open space for things to change or sway in one way to another. No, you need to have a contract. So they should be providing you with the contract. And yes, New Voice Books will send you a contract. No, we're not doing it low budget over here. We're professional over here, okay? Next, you're going to build your author brand. And I believe I have an episode about the author brand. I can't remember what season it is, but yes, build your author brand. People don't just buy books. They don't. They buy trust. Your brand includes your message, your website, your social media links and tags, your speaking opportunities, your professionalism, your consistency. Books open doors. It's the key to open doors. But you have to be consistent and intentional on building your author brand. The real you may be different from the author you when you're in front of people because you're focusing in on your target audience. Not saying you being fake or you being two different people, but you come with more professionalism and standing boldly as the subject matter expert on your topic. And it may be a topic talking about grief, and a lot of people have been through grief, but they haven't been through grief and overcame grief the way you overcame it. So you are the subject matter expert to teach them another way to overcome and manage grief. But you gotta protect that brand. But you first gotta build it. And understand that it's not just, oh, well, it's just me. No, you got to show up, and you got to show up well. Your brand keeps those doors open. So if you're wondering, like, how am I going to be sustainable? It's your author's brand that's going to help you be sustainable. It's what people see. It's what people hear. How you make them feel is what is going to keep those doors open. So here are some frequently asked questions that any book publishing company will get asked. And so we're going to go through them now, okay? So it says, do I need an LLC before publishing? No, you don't have to have a whole LLC to publish a book. No. But if you plan to build a long-term publishing business, you may eventually consider forming a business entity after speaking with legal and tax professionals about what fits your situation. So if you're trying to become a New Voice Books, you're going to need that LLC, okay? Can I copyright my book after publishing? Yes. It does not have to be done before. You can do it afterwards. However, many authors choose to register before and shortly after publication to minimize available protection. But yes, you can wait. You know, the sooner the better. But you can wait. You just got to be mindful of your content and your book and the hands that it is in, okay? Can someone steal my idea? And I want to say this to you, ideas happen every day. Execution is what matters. People can take your idea all day, but if they don't execute, they don't complete, it was just an idea. You complete it. So as long as you're completing, then it's nothing they can do to harm you. Because no one has your voice, no one has your testimony, and no one can tell your story exactly the way God gave it to you. He's not going to tell you to come out here with your book and then turn around and allow somebody else to come out with the same book. Then that's going to put y'all in a place of competition. And God is not like that. That's not who he is. He's not going to cause you strife with someone else. over something that he gave you that you were assigned to do? No, that's not who God is. So, and then the next question is, should I publish under my own name or an imprint? So it all depends on your goals. Some authors publish personally, and then some do the professional publishing by going through a publishing house. Others create publishing imprints for future growth. So meaning that imprint is like who is listed as your publisher. Like we talked about earlier, that's connected to the ISBN numbers. So that's what the imprint is. It's going to show who published your book. And that matters. So neither option is automatically right or wrong. It's just based off your situation and what you choose to do. Okay? So I want to encourage you to don't let the business side of publishing intimidate you. Don't do that. Knowledge creates confidence. You're going to do this. You're able to stand on your own 2 feet and get your book published and also operate the business behind your book as well. You are. And if you need assistance, go to God and ask God to lead you and guide you to those who will need to assist you in where you are. Don't hold too tight to them because God may remove them. So you got to be ready to let go when God says to let go, okay? The more you understand publishing, the better you steward publishing, your book, your content, your ideas, your time, all of that. You'll become the message that God placed in you and entrusted in you. You will become it, because remember, you have to have an author's brand as well too. So not all the time everybody's going to have the book right in front of them. You may go into a rooms where you didn't even think about bringing your book. That was not even what the whole room is about. But then somebody talks about your book or talk about writing a book, and then you got to show up as your story. You got to show up as your message. And you got to tell them about a book that you wrote and where it's available for them to purchase. So you need to protect your work, learn the process, ask questions, invest in doing things well, because your book deserves the level of excellence. It deserves the level of excellence. Okay? So I want to leave you with this scripture, Colossians 3:23, and it says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. So I want you to start approaching every part of publishing in an intentional way, including the business side. And I want you to approach it with excellence and integrity, because your book deserves that. You deserve that. Okay? So if today's episode helped you better understand ISBN numbers, copyright, and the business side of publishing, please like this video, subscribe to the Author's Corner channel, and share this episode with another author. Don't gatekeep. Share this information out so everybody's story can change people's lives. And then if you're ready to, publish your book, or you need the guidance of publishing your book, then come on through and connect with New Voice Books. You can connect with us at nvpublishingco.com. Again, that's nvpublishingco.com. We have book publishing services available. We have a Kingdom Scribe Academy that includes coaching. It includes a mentorship program. And it also has some tools and resources there that you can utilize to kind of help you learn different topics. We have a series of mini courses that are broken down on different topics that you can have access to. So that way you can learn about book publishing and not be confused. Okay? Because, New Voice Books, we want to help you change the world one story at a time. So I want you to remember that your voice matters, your story has purpose, and someone is waiting for your book You only just got to get it done. You got to write it. That's what you got to do, is get it done. So until next time, I want you to keep writing, keep trusting God, and keep using your voice to impact the world. Be blessed.